Let's celebrate.
Who has fruit, juicy fruit in their drawer?
There's some stuff over there.
How's your program coming along?
It's really good.
Yeah, good.
I like your program.
I like it too.
I want
Most
to ask
days.
you something about that. Well, I'll ask you. We're going to get the meeting over. He has half an hour. Let's go.
Depends on.
And you could have been here at 4 because we were done
How did the Arts Commission go?
quickly.
Did they disperse some money?
No, we just got the applications, but there's 6 of them.
That's good.
Okay, being as it's like 4:30, we'll call the meeting of the Oroville Parks Commission to order. Would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Khan,
Here.
Commissioner Riggs,
Here.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Here.
Does this thing
Here.
work?
No, here.
Oh, it does.
You're on.
Hello, hello. All right, so if you will all stand, please, we'll salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We don't have anybody in attendance, any public in attendance. So we will, and I do need to leave in about a half an hour, so if it should happen that the meeting is not over by the time that I need to leave, what we can try to do is get anything that takes a vote done before I leave. If there is anything, we don't have any
The minutes is
anything at this point.
The minutes is
And just for the record, so that we have a quorum when that happens. Public comments, none. Correspondence, none. Am I looking at the right agenda? I want to make sure I'm doing that the right this time. I wasn't last time. Here we go. Tuesday. This is not October 9th, though.
Oh, I just think that the heading didn't get changed.
Yeah. It didn't.
So I'm looking at 2 agendas, one that I recorded and one that was here, but they say Tuesday, October 9th, regular meeting.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah, it's the wrong. They just didn't change the date.
Okay, so would you make sure that that happens?
Oh,
So we are
yes.
looking at December 11th. Yes?
I wish it was October 9.
Okay, anyway, the contents of the agenda are correct, though?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Approval of minutes.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Are we just polling the commission again tonight, or no? Okay. I'll get with it here eventually.
And then we'll be over.
Motion carries.
Okay. Public hearings, none. Regular business, consider donation from Marlene Del Rosario to the Chinese Temple, Chinese Plate and Stand. Do we have any staff comments?
So I don't have any of the paperwork on that.
So
And so my suggestion to you guys would be to table it to the next meeting to give me a little bit, or the staff, time to find the paperwork or talk to the docent that's in charge of the temple.
Okay. Park commissioners in agreement with that?
yes.
Okay. Table to next meeting. Discussion items. We have several. Park and museum fee structure update. Are we going to have any discussion on that tonight?
Excuse me. Talking to Bill LeGrone and staff, we're updating our master fee schedule right now, so we're going to tack this on to them, Weldan and Associates, to update our parks, museums, and facilities fee structure at the same time. So we're hoping to get them started early January, hoping to have something done no later than March on this. So I'd like to bring it back at that time. I've done some research myself, but I'd like to get a company that does this for a living, get them on board to update our fees. They haven't been done since 2008.
I have just one sort of a suggestion for the fees. It seems like what we have is like a $20 fee for tours and that includes both children and adults. I would just as soon maintain that fee of $20 for when we have school children come through, but when adults come through, even though it's a tour, I'd like to charge them the $2.50 each. And not that reduced $20 fee.
So to clarify, you're saying the school tour is a $20 flat rate, and you'd suggest with an adult tour $2.50 per person. Okay.
Right? Because I think it's 15 kids at $20 or something like that. You know, they're supposed to be. So if they bring in several groups, they end up paying more. But yeah, I think we get some people paid us that ahead of time, and it just seems it's not a big deal, and let them pay that fee. Keep it for the schools.
Alrighty. Any comment, Chris?
No.
All right. Okay, so we'll expect that sometime after January. The lot home roof repairs and cameras. Do we have any updates on that?
I talked to Gary today about the lot home roof. We're looking at going with a 40-year high dimensional comp roof in brown coloring, and he's wanting to put that on the contractor exchange, possibly this week sometime.
Yeah, this was a kind of a high. This wasn't put on the agenda last time, but it was brought up as a staff report, so the commission felt like it was, well, we had representation from the docents here, and so they were really concerned about the condition of the stuff in the building.
We did look at, we have been monitoring the building and making sure that there's, the leaks are getting took care of before they get to the artifacts and things like that. We may have to tarp the roof. There is a lot of daylight, and that's a possibility. We don't want to go there, but we may have to because it is deteriorating. Because getting a roofing contractor, we're probably talking about spring, so we probably are going to have to go through the whole winter in the condition it's in.
I'm with tarping it and protect it for now.
Can we make sure the tarps aren't bright blue?
We can get
that you
possibly a brown color, yes. Good suggestion.
I'm sorry, I care about these things. I don't want to drive past it every day and
see a blue tarp.
I always reminded them of the 5-gallon buckets that we used to use at the municipal auditorium in the attic.
We probably still have some.
So spring, you're thinking. I know last time they said that the bids were like $80,000, and that was pretty high.
I do have the question about the comp. I thought that, what is the roof now?
It's the shake or the shingle. And so the comp, they're looking at a 40-year high dimensional, so you'll still get the same look, but it'll be a 40-year.
Will it fit it in? Because it's a historical building.
Gary has also sent emails out. So at the time of the walkthrough, we will tell the bidders what material to use. Mm-hmm. But we are looking into that as well.
Okay.
All right. Any more comments on that? Thank you, Wade.
Mm-hmm.
Pioneer Fund update. I don't know what that is.
$100,000 that disappeared.
So talking to Bill, I didn't get a chance to talk to Ruth, but talking to Bill, he said this money was took and put in the general fund to compensate for the maintenance and the electricity and things like that's been going on there for the last several years. So don't shoot the messenger on that one. That was just what I was told to relay, that it's the maintenance and
so
upkeep.
It was $100,000 that was earmarked for the Pioneer Museum that's gotten into the general fund and used for maintenance.
It was for other things. It was a fund that was carried for a number of years, just was there, and it was supposed to be used specifically for the Pioneer, and they apparently allocated the funds because they've been doing the update over the years. They decided that covered whatever they've been doing in the past.
That's what was told to me to relay.
But the $100,000 is gone.
It's gone.
And there's no more of those floating around, I don't suppose.
If there was, I'm not the finance director. I'm sure they were used as well for any type of maintenance or put in the general fund, unfortunately.
Well, I don't know if is this beating a dead horse, but
It is.
it seems like it ought to come back at some point, especially now that there may be some potential for new funding that we didn't have before.
Yeah.
But I'm not exactly sure. Maybe at budget time, what would be a good budget time? What's when you start thinking about budget for next year?
Right now, we start thinking of our budget for
Right
next
now.
year.
So how,
Is there any way that with the new sales tax or with the cannabis tax that any of that money can go
that's what
towards
I'm
parks?
saying. Yeah, there's new funding out there now, but I'm sure that has a lot of
I mean,
lot of
I know
high
that there's plenty of-
priority uses.
Just speculation on my part and talking to people, the cannabis tax, the cannabis whole issue is probably going to be I can't discuss that? Okay. I don't know that we can rely on those monies. And then from what I was told, the sales tax is going to go towards personnel and
Safety.
PERS payments. And we won't see any of that until September, October, or closer to the end of the year.
With the new tax, they're going to be creating a citizens oversight board. And so, I mean, if citizens have suggestions as to where those funds should be spent, definitely that committee would be the one to bring those suggestions to. I mean, if you look at the typical budget from past years, 70% of all general fund money goes to public safety. And so right off the top, I think there's a good assumption that we're going to have similar situation with that happening, and then figuring out what to do with the rest of those funds.
It's going to be a learning curve.
Well, you know what? It's going to cost almost $100,000 probably to put a new roof on that building.
Yeah, but that's a different building. That's the lot home. The Pioneer is the one that the funds disappeared from.
When will they be making that oversight team?
My assumption would be closer to us getting those funds, because the sales tax goes into effect towards the beginning of the year, we won't actually see any of those funds until after the first quarter that the money's been implemented. We won't see any of those funds till after that first quarter has been completed.
Well, this is not as important issue probably as it is to you. I think that it's probably why it's on the agenda.
Yeah.
So, I mean, are you comfortable with it?
No. I'm not comfortable with it being gone.
No, and I support that. So I think we ought to.
Yeah. I understand, and it's not Wade's. I mean, it was taken during a time when there was budgeting and all that sort of thing. I'm not comfortable that it disappeared and was used in the general fund. However, I understand the explanation, and you're the messenger. You're just telling us what happened. So.
No, but the thing is that it never came to the park commission before that money disappeared.
No.
It came after that money disappeared, and we don't have any authority over the money aspect of it, but we do have. We can make comments and recommendations. So
right.
If something was like that to happen again, it would be great if it came before the park commission before it went to the.
Yeah,
council for action.
Things are bypassing us that should at least be notified of, is what we're saying.
So we only meet. And in fact, that's the next question I have. We meet again in January.
Yes.
So that's only a month. So we going back to monthly meetings or what?
So the meetings are supposed to be quarterly. You had specifically requested a meeting in December because you didn't want to wait 3 months until the next meeting. So, I mean, that is actually under administration reports. We wanted to kind of discuss a couple different things with the meetings. So when we get down there, I'd love to readdress that.
Well, I think that I'd like to at least keep it on under discussion items for the next meeting. So
the Pioneer Fund.
Yes.
What would you guys like to see for that? So that, I mean, because that's part of the problem is all we can relay is that the money was spent on repairs and maintenance of the Pioneer Museum.
But it wasn't, because they checked they also checked the budget items as far as they knew that had gone. the person who was tracking the money also tracked the cost of things that had been spent on the museum for repair. I mean, other stuff. You know, other than the normal maintenance, there were no outstanding bills or work done. So I think what we'd like to do is, I'd like to know when this money was taken, when it happened.
So
there's
when
gotta be
and
meeting
where
notes.
it went.
There has to be meeting notes somewhere about when they reallocated that money. Correct?
Legally.
Yeah, there should be. When they decided to move it from here to here, there had to be some place where that happened.
So ideally, you guys would like a breakdown from finance that shows when the money was moved and then where it went, if possible. Okay, so we can try to work on that if it's if we have it and get it back to you.
Well, and then how about the possibility of tacking onto that some discussions about how we might be able to augment that money with new money?
Yeah, how we get it. Yeah, that sounds good. Get you out of
Things that with new funds in the budget process. Nothing might ever become of it, but at least we can talk about it.
Because it's unclear to me where that $100,000 came from originally, too. Why it was there.
So maybe I'll check with Ruth and see if she has any of that information.
So one thing that I'd like to consider is the Parks Commission is funded through use permit fees, right? And permit fees? How does the Parks Commission get their money? Because I want to create a system where we get some to use on our parks also.
What do you mean by park commission or park department?
The park department.
Sorry, the art commission.
The art commission gets money because there's I believe there's
like a fee when you build or do
I could be slightly wrong on this, so don't quote me on it, but there is a resolution in place that requires that new development either provide X amount of their project worth of funds in building their own arts project, or they can just give the fee and then it goes into this separate fund that the Arts Commission then gets to decide where the funds get spent.
Can't we create a similar recreation resolution?
Possibly. I don't know.
We
I would
get
have
our
to.
funds from a variety of places.
Well,
Park department.
and then we lose it to a variety.
Comes from, but I mean, it comes from park fees.
Well, I think it goes hand in hand with the park development impact fees. So when
Right.
there's development, there's a fee they have to pay as well. And you guys did ask for these numbers.
Right.
So I have the numbers tonight for you,
Oh, awesome.
what we have in the
Where does
development
that
impact
go?
fees.
Under administration report?
Yeah, since it's not on the agenda, we'll discuss all that under there. Yeah.
All right, well, why don't we try to work through the other two items here fairly quickly then. Docent training and cleanup week, is there any comment from
Yeah.
anyone on that?
The cleaning starts in January, and the docent training hasn't been arranged yet, but there's a meeting tomorrow of the lead docents, and they'll figure that out.
Yeah, if I may, I just I want to figure that out tomorrow. And from a city aspect, it makes sense for us to go in and train the week that the training or the cleaning takes place in that particular museum. So if it's the Pioneer, say January 10th through the 17th, we would pick a day, a Wednesday or something, train, have a luncheon and a training that day. Following week, Chinese Temple, we'd have a training and a luncheon and then the
And
lot.
Lonnie has that schedule, but I will find it out tomorrow.
Okay,
There's a
I plan on attending the meeting as well, and so we can hash that out then.
There's a lead docent meeting tomorrow at 10, and we'll figure that out.
Okay.
And by the way, I'm your new lead docent.
Again?
Again.
Okay.
Good.
And so then we'll go on to docent computer update. How about that? Any updates on
The
that?
computer is at the Pioneer, and I was able to open it, but I haven't found the program on it yet. So we have to have training on the inventory program. But it is there. Why it took so long, I have no idea, but it's there, and it was this big. I mean, I thought it was a laptop, but it's a Surface Pro, and we were looking around, and oh, there it is. So anyway, it's there. That's an improvement over not being there.
All right. And then we'll go on to administration reports.
So the first one is just we're looking at ways to still help the city save money, because even though we did pass the sales tax, we want to use that efficiently. And one of the things that we're looking at as staff is that if we can move the Parks Commission meeting to either 3:30 or 4 after the Arts Commission meeting that we've moved to 3, we could actually save some funds, because I know some of us come to work fairly early, and so when we're here in the evenings past a certain time, all of the funds that were being paid overtime and things like that, and so it would save the city money if we were able to move those meetings to either 3:30 or 4. So that was question number 1 to you guys.
Isn't enough for the art commission most of the time?
The last 2 meetings have been 30-minute meetings. 4 would be even a great compromise there. We're just trying to get everyone out of here in a decent amount of time to not pay overtime if we can. So is anyone opposed to 4 o'clock?
How often are we meeting?
So that is the other thing. Staff would recommend keeping that on a quarterly basis. I know that there had been a commissioner is concerned about doing bi-monthly. So that again is up to you guys for then approval by the council if you guys want to move it entirely. But that's kind of where we're at again, is just trying to look at staff time and the most effective way to get the business done, but also save on money when we can. So,
Questions, Kristen?
No. Well, I wouldn't be opposed to being before the Arts Commission.
okay.
Just saying. I would really appreciate that, actually.
You mean at like 2?
At like 2.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, we wouldn't be opposed to that because that definitely gets us out. I mean, I'm normally off at 4:30. He's probably normally off at like 2 or 3. So, I mean, if you guys are available at 2, that's...
Here's the thing. I wouldn't be opposed to us doing 2 o'clock quarterly until we get more than 3 people on the commission.
Yeah.
And then we revisit it. Okay?
Okay.
Is that fair?
So 2 o'clock quarterly. So starting out 2019, do you want to meet in January and then go April and go on that way? Or do you...
So,
because that would keep it in line with the Parks Commission or the Arts Commission.
January, February, March. Our next meeting, if we just jumped, would be March. Is everybody okay with that?
Will be
January
April.
is always a busy time. Yeah.
It would be January, April.
Oh, April.
July, October.
What about as far as the fee stuff?
We probably won't have any of that for you until the April meeting would be my guess, because we're going to be sending to council to put out an RFP for the master fee schedule. And then once they've approved us doing the RFP, then we send it out and then it comes back. And so, I mean, there's a process there. And then the company that selects it will then do their work before there's even a final decision.
so when you do looking at the fee schedule, I think you should have, that company should talk to the docents a little bit, or, somebody from the Docents Association too.
Yeah, I don't.
They should interview us.
Probably the lead docent.
Okay. That's
Okay. So if we had a meeting in April, we could have discussion on the new fees. We could have discussion on the budget and potential, funding for the Parks Department. And we could have, what's the third thing I was thinking of?
Potentially a
What we
full.
just talked about, right? A roof update if it's not done already. And then if there's some need to have a meeting before that, if you feel that there's some need to have a meeting, if it's like a month before that, then you just call a special meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah, and you should have potentially a full commission by then too, because we're hoping at the second meeting in January to actually fill all the commissions.
So do we have a date on that meeting then? April what?
Your meetings are usually the second Tuesday.
Uh-huh.
Let me look.
When is the January one?
So it would be Tuesday, April 9th.
2 p.m. I suppose you'll have to confirm that before that actually comes to play.
Well, so the council approves the meeting schedule usually also at that first meeting in January for the year. And so we'll suggest to them that the Parks Commission would like to meet at 2:00 on the second Tuesday of the month. And typically, because you guys are actually helping us reduce staff cost time, they'll probably not have any problem with that.
My only concern is it may run into the art commission some, so
If
But-
we wait, yeah, if we're,
if you go over. But I guess we'll wait.
We'll have to be timely.
well, we're always waiting on that.
Good point.
Not
And
today, though.
do the Arts Commission meet quarterly also?
Yes.
So, okay, so we have some direction there. Is there more administration reports?
You,
You got something, Wade?
I have something, well, I have money to discuss.
Not real money.
Also, the opening, closing of the museums. We're looking real hard, and we'll probably discuss this tomorrow at the lead docent meeting, and we'll discuss it tonight, and going to take it to city council. Scaling back the museums, possibly closing them Thanksgiving and opening them March 1st. So
What?
currently they're closed for 6 weeks out of the year.
But what about Christmas at the lot home?
Well, they would open up for that.
We would definitely open
the
up for the
event.
mistletoe party and things like that. But the attendance at the lot home, the attendance at the Pioneer is relatively light in the winter. The docents don't particularly like working in the cold weather. And honestly, we work 7 days a week, 10 and a half months out of the year. And my staff is going to be four people starting December 26th. Lori Mahoney is retiring. One of my street guys has cancer. He's out long term. So that leaves me with 4 employees. Honestly, working 7 days a week or 7-day coverage is just not, it's not feasible for us to come in and work an 8-hour day to open and close museums when there's nothing going on in the parks and there's nothing going on, you know, in areas to keep them busy all day. In the summer, we usually have events at Hammond Park, Hewitt Park, potentially a municipal auditorium, and we have to open and close museums on the weekends, so the weekend person stays very busy. In the winter, being a one-person show, there's not a lot they can accomplish, and I could better utilize their time during the week, Monday through Friday. So I talked to Bill a little bit about this, and I'd like to see the museums scaled back a little bit to help out the crew because we are so short-handed. And just because when we're collecting, you know, $9, $11, $13 out of the museums for the month, it's not feasible to keep them open.
You say you have to take that to the council?
We would take it to probably on the consent calendar, I'd imagine, to the council, but I wanted to start it here first to get your, to get some thoughts and
So it goes
discussion.
from 6 weeks to how many weeks?
I'm kicking around the idea we could go till the end of November, we could go to the end of October, we could cut it off at Thanksgiving, somewhere in there. Currently, it's open till December 15th, and then it opens up again February 1st.
And there are special events, but you're talking about, what about the temple? Because the temple always has people.
Temple does always have people, but again, just to come in on the weekends to open up the temple, it just wouldn't be feasible for us. We're just so short-handed, and I know the temple, you know, but with the people that come, it doesn't pan out in the end. It doesn't make money, unfortunately, but it does draw a lot of people to Oroville. They had 10 people today.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's a pretty good turnout. If the docents wanted to open and close for themselves, I would say yes, let's keep it open. But as far as having a staff person having to do that in the winter, I just, you know, I'm having a hard time with it because, like I said, I went from 12 to 6 people. Now I got 4 people.
Yeah, the temple is the one that you're going to get the biggest reaction to, and it is the one that gets the largest number of attendees.
Do you think that the docents there are able and capable of opening and closing on their own?
I don't know if they have a key or not. I know they can go into the gift shop part, but the office part, but I don't know about the rest of it. You know, all the other rooms. when you're opening up the temple, you're opening up 6, 8 buildings?
5 buildings.
5 buildings.
With several other locks.
Yeah.
Or, you know,
Per building.
emergency exits and things like
Is
that.
So-
it possible to operate the Chinese temple more time, more than the other museums?
It already
Those other
is.
Museum, just open that one?
Currently, the Chinese temple, it used to be open 7 days a week. We've had to scale it back to 4 days a week. And then the other Pioneer Museum and Lot Home are only open 2 days a
2
week.
days a week.
They used to be open 3, now they're open 2.
Yeah, but I mean, you're talking about closing them during the winter months.
Yeah, this is in the
Would
temples.
it be possible to keep the temple open during the winter months when the other museums aren't?
We could keep it open Tuesday and Wednesday because that would fit right into our staff time. But again, weekends.
As a suggestion, perhaps what you could do, I've thought about this, of course, and I thought that if they, by appointment, in other words, maybe do those during those months, it would be by appointment, and then so people could call ahead of time and maybe, not like they do for tours, but just and if there was somebody who would open up for that period of time for appointment. Anyway, it's a thought. Throw it out there.
I could see that working. I could see, you know, Tuesday and Wednesday having it open, and by appointment. That's not a bad idea.
For the other, if anybody wants to see them, they just have to call and make sure there's staff available for the day they want to go, and then we could do it. But I think that may be a feasible. That way, you're not closed, and you're not going to get many for the. I mean, I at the Pioneer or anyway. But I honestly think it's a good idea to. I was thinking today that we should start close in November.
So the museums are closed now.
No, they're open till December 15th. Actually, December 14th is the last day they're open. The signs say December 15th.
Reopen though when?
It's February 1st.
So you're not now. What you're proposing is not open them on February 1st. Let's leave them going until possibly as late as May.
March.
Just March.
It's springtime. It's starting to warm up a little bit. It's February. We're still in bad weather. And if they're already closed for 6 weeks, in 4 more weeks, and then that way, my staff person, when they start working weekends again, that's when we start getting our reservations in the parks, and so we're out, doing other things on the weekends.
Okay. Well, I would support that. What are you going to do? You got to, you're doing the best you can out there.
As long as you throw in the appointments.
Yeah, we can discuss it further tomorrow with the dozens. Unfortunately, it's just that's how we're treating everything right now. The streets, the parks, the museums, the trees, they're all kind of.
Forward to better times.
Yes, absolutely. So everybody's feeling the strain.
Do you have anything more?
Did you do the park impact fees?
He has them fees.
Or-
I have the fees right here. I only made 1 copy because my copier ran out of ink. We can make more copies if you'd like a copy.
I'd like copies. Yeah, we'd like copies of that.
What? But this is like a total of what's available.
Yeah, so it's $162,000 available.
I'm going to leave this over to you guys.
Okay.
Because I have to get out of here. So,
62,000 available, and the last thing we purchased was the brush chipper out of this account.
If you want to adjourn the meeting, that's always something he can give to you guys.
Yeah, go ahead and adjourn it, and then
okay. That being the case, being as it's 5:05, we will adjourn the meeting to our next regular meeting.
January.
Which will be April 8th.
April 8th at probably 2 p.m.
We're not going to meet in January?
No, we're not going to meet in January.
April 9th.
Or April 9th.
Okay, meeting adjourned.
All right.
And I will see you
I
guys.
guess that's
if not
good.
Sooner, if I don't see you sooner, have a very, very merry